Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever episode of Little Big Workshop. In this series I'll be aiming to just basically go through a little bit of the game and show everybody why I absolutely adore this. So the premise of the game is that you're on somebody's craft table. I'll pan around in a little bit and show everybody what there is on the table, and you'd basically run your own little factory, and you've got to keep on top of your inputs, your outputs, and most of all, your finances. So we just got a phone call from Crazy Steve. Hello there, I just opened a new shop close to your factory, and seeing as you're new here, maybe we could help each other out. Get yourself a workbench and take a look around. I'll call again in a bit. Okay, so we're just going to pause and have a look around. So you can see that we've got standard craft supplies, X-Acto knife, hobby colour paint, his rogue and all that type of stuff. So moving is just WASD and right click, Q and E, turn it 90 degrees, and you've got your basic workstations, your break room related things, your decorations, and your zones. Okay, so first things first, let's put down our first ever woodworking station, order that. When you order stuff, it'll all get delivered to Alpha, which is just the name of your first loading bay. You can change the names as much as you like. Once you unlock loading bays and you can build your own, you can have multiple, and you can change them so that they accept imports and exports, imports only or exports only. You've got yourself a workbench, I see. My stock of garden gnomes are getting pretty low. Can you make me a couple? So we'll say yes. So every time you get a product, you have to plan it. So we've got 50 days to make 3 carved wooden gnomes. It's not going to take anywhere near as long as this. But this is your planning page. This is your blueprint. Square-shaped ones are the raw materials, or the actual material itself. And the circle ones are the processes. And that's the final product. So you right-click on the operation node, and you link it to the woodworking station, because that is what needs to be done. And once everything's ticked off on here, you just click execute. So speed up, parts will get logged in. This red thing is just saying that there's no storage available. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this entire room for now as storage, just so we can get these out and into here. And this is going to be our actual room we're using for the time being. It's a bit of a pain that there's no door there, but we'll get to that in a bit. So now we've made all 3 of the wooden gnomes. Terrifying little things there. We'll just deliver them. Crazy Steve will turn up with his little truck, and he'll grab them on. Bob's your uncle. Just got a shipment of carved wooden gnome. They look amazing. People are already eyeing them up as they get unloaded. I hope we can keep this partnership running, so we'll receive 3,150 gold and 3,375 experience. And we can see that for the time being, the workers aren't getting paid just because it's tutorial. As soon as we actually get into the game, they will have a salary. So there you go, he rings again, just to basically say, the new gnomes are a hit, and I want to put more of them up for sale. Can you make some shelves I can use for that? So again, plan the product, and this is where we learn about attributes. So the attributes are basically, it's got to have requirements. So it needs to have at least 2 durability and at least 10 style, because obviously you want it to look nice. So we can't use this one because it wouldn't give us enough style. However, if we go to the shelf support, oh, it's not letting me change it. Whereabouts does it allow it? There it is, on the gluing section. So if you can change it by just going to one of the nodes and changing it to the shelf support D instead. And this is where you can see the final product. So if I change it to dark wood, you can see that the shelf support sides will be dark wood. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a top dark wood, just because I think it looks nicer. It's not going to be effective a price or anything, it's actually going to make it slightly more expensive. But each of these, you just right click on it, link it to the woodworking station, and then they're all done. Then processes are set up. We can't, however, execute the plan yet because we need to purchase another workstation, because it all needs to be assembled at the end once everything's done. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have an assembly station put there. So we'll order that. You don't have to wait for it to turn up. You can just link it straight to it and execute. So now that plan's going off, first things first, we'll get the workbench delivered, and then we'll get a tired employee apparently. These guys will start offloading all the stuff we need for these wooden shelves. Now we need to make a break room, and the break room, it's its own section down here. So you got your work-related stuff, your break room, and your decorations. I'll go through decorations shortly. But let's have a look here. Why is it not letting me? Yeah. So the numbers at the top. So we're making 8 cups of coffee a day. We've got none ready at the moment, and we've got no employees on break or going to break. We've got a capacity of 7 coffee cups. And as we get more employees, we'll get more break room related stuff needed. The employees make some weird noises. But while this one's passed out, this other worker's going to keep doing what she's doing. So she's making the shelf supports. Once she's done our shelf supports, she'll make the plank to go across the top. Now this one's awake. She can start getting things set up for assembly. So I'm going to split this entry. I'm going to bring this. No, I can't bring it down, never mind. Well, so that's all the shelf supports done. And this table is ready with them. You can see it's missing the wood plank. So she's made the wood plank. So this employee has picked up the wooden plank. In fact, we'll follow her real quick. So she's going to go pick up that plank, wander back through with it to the assembly station, and then glue it all together. There you go, there's 2 done. We'll speed it up a little bit, just to get, pardon me, just need to get a few more things in here, just to get the recovery rate up as much as possible, so that when people do eventually pass out, they come back a lot quicker. And, oh, 1 minute, just putting the top plank on. There you go, job's done, just click deliver. And Crazy Steve will come pick up these shelves himself. So another 2,500 gold, 930 experience, and another phone call. Gnomes and shelves. I recommend I'm set up for a while. I'll get back to you later if something new comes up. Meanwhile, you should check the market. There are lots of other folks around here that need all kinds of supplies. Laters. So when you haven't got a contract to do from a client, you just go to the market down here. So the market is constantly updating. It'll update next in 19 hours, and it's a 2-day cycle, I'm pretty sure. So looking at each item, you can look up in the top right for its statistics. So it's a mass production item, which means it's got to be not as many things to make it, but you can make quite a lot of them. It's a small project size, so it won't take too long, but it needs plastic, and we haven't got any plastic specialization stuff. And you can see that it needs 6 durability and 6 style. This is the current price and demand. Now demand is really low, so that'll bring the price down. So it's not a suitable product for us. However, for Doggo House, it's simpler. It's a small project size and only uses wood, which we can absolutely do. The pay is decent, and the demand is actually at an all-time high. So we'll plan this product, start from the right and move down. So link that to the workstation, link that to the woodworking station, pick that. As for this bit, we'll go for the rooster, and link that to the woodworking station. Just as a tutorial, it wants us to do 7. Now the annoying thing about doing 7 is that we're going to have a spare part, which if we did 8 we wouldn't have, but we deal with it. This job is going to take a really long time to finish. Now, annoyingly, it says to order another assembly station when it's not really the assembly station that I'd consider a problem on this. The things you can do, because we now have 2 assembly stations, we can split the load between assembly station 1 and assembly station 2. So we split the stack using this button here, and then we just use the middle button to just send it over. So this one I'll do 4, and this one I'll do 3. What I am going to do is I'm going to split this and put that higher up, just so that we have a bit more to get done. And it wants us to hire another operator. The tutorial is pretty simple. It's nice and easy. So these guys will just cut about, do their own thing. This person will keep cutting wooden planks. This person will keep putting them together. Happy days. It's a disaster! The gnomes you made for me have already sold out and I need more now. I will pay you anything. That sounds good to me. So again, these, if you've already done something, it stays linked, but you can always just double check by just relinking it effectively. And when you've got multiple projects on the go, if you want one done beforehand, you just click this orange button and it'll be done as a priority. So this is why I'd suggest getting 2 woodworking benches as opposed to 2 assembly stations. Oh, didn't realise you could move a clown. You can interact with a few of these things over here, which is quite cool. Nice little detail. Okay, so we've made 4 of them. As soon as this is done as well, we don't need to tell them to go back to working on the Doggo House project. They will just go back themselves because it's just queued up. So there you go, Crazy Steve will come and pick up the wooden gnomes, and jobs are good. Now, one thing that you might note is that all the workstations do have durability, so these guys are pretty much fine. The right hand side of a bar, so from 50% upwards in durability, indicates the workstation is fine and efficiency is absolutely fine and dandy. When it drops between 10 and 50%, the efficiency drops to 75%, so it needs repair. When it drops below that 10% durability, the efficiency drops to 10% as well, so it makes things a lot slower. So it's always good to keep an eye on what's broken and what needs fixing. So as you can see there, that's just dropped below the 50% mark. So it's now going to be less efficient. Now, annoyingly, they will always build something on it and then repair it, but it is what it is. So this bit is the client relations page. Now, there are 5 levels to each client. There are 5 clients. They all have different personalities. So Steve likes cheap small orders that are sometimes completely random. Swakia, which is the next client, as you may guess from the name, they want large furniture orders, like chairs, tables, desks, and all that type of stuff. And there you go, there's the tutorial done. So with the clients, it's pretty simple. You just, once you've got the first job done for the client, you can see kind of what they want and what they need from you. And you can choose to just completely ignore a client, but as you level up with a client, they'll send you more jobs, they'll pay you more, and you'll get a better reputation across the board. So yeah, that's the tutorial done. So now we go on to the bronze milestone. So we need to deliver more than 100 products, complete at least 3 client challenges, execute a plan with a billboard linked to it, and reach factory level 5. Very simple to do. What I am going to do then, we have 1 R&D point. You get R&D points just by leveling up. I am going to unlock the billboards. So what we can do with these bad boys is if I put that here and order that, I'll show you what happens when we get that installed. There you go. So what I can do is I can link this billboard to that assembler and this assembler. So when we have a job that requires assembling 40 items, this will get 20 and this will get 20. What I am going to do is whap you there. Put one of you there. Order that. And we'll get the woodworking station all billboarded up as well. You can hold shift and click multiple. I only ever have 2 of a workstation. If you want more, get more. It's very simple in that regard. You can have 10 woodworking stations, 10 paint stations, and just do things that require woodwork and paint. It's up to you. Now this one just requires wood. It's a premium product, so it can be a bit slow to make, but quite expensive for the consumer. So I am actually going to go with the simple chair. So we'll go for wood round. We haven't got a sewing station. Is it worth getting a sewing station this early? You know what, no, we won't do that. We will, however. Let's have a gander. You see the demand's dropping on them. This requires a paint station. So you know what, we'll get a paint station, because paint stations are quite useful. Link them together, link them together. If you don't have the workstation and you right click, it'll say get the required workstation, and then it'll point you down here and it'll flash the one that it hasn't got. So it's quite simple. It doesn't let you do something without you having the right workstations. And there you go. So now for the dollar horse, link that up to there, and we'll make, we can deliver 31, so we'll make 24. I don't want to go too high up, and as you can see, each plank makes 8 of these wooden planks. Sorry, each raw wood section makes 8 of these wooden planks, so we've got to keep it in numbers of, in like multiples of 8, otherwise we're going to have leftovers, and you want to have as little in the excess production as possible. So this is going to cost us 54 gold in raw materials. It's going to cost us about 900 in salary, so it's going to cost us just shy of 1,000. So we're at 13,763 now. I'll buy them. We'll get the dollar horse. We'll get the raw wood delivered. There's literally 3 bits to do, and that's it. There we go. So now these guys will come and turn them into a dollar horse. In fact, what I might do, bring that in a little bit, and move this into this room. Should make it a bit more efficient, because they'll automatically bring the dollar horse into here, and then it can just be painted and put back in place. There you go. Paint that, she'll pick this one up, paint that, happy days. We'll make these 24 before we even know it. So as you can see here, because this plan is using a billboard as opposed to me clicking and linking it to each specific workstation, we have ticked that part of the milestone. So once this is done, we'll deliver 24 of these dollar horses. It's not good to do all 31 that could have been delivered, because by the time they're actually made, the market demand could have dropped. So if we look at it now, it still says 31, which is fine. But you've always got to be a bit wary about this. Because I've had plenty of games where I've made 50 of a rubber duck and only been able to sell 37 of them, and just sitting with 13 in storage isn't the best. But there you go. All 24 dollar horses made. Now what we can do, we did make them for this node, and the price we'd get is 121 gold, or we can sell them over to this company, I guess, for 141, so we'll get an extra 20 per horse. So it's the difference between 2,892 gold and 3,379. It's another 500 gold in my pocket, which is where you want it. So on this one, you just click deliver, and there you go. So originally we were only supposed to be getting a little bit less out of this, but we were at 13,700. Let's see how much we are at after this. Let's have a look. So we've gained about 1,800, including buying the paint station, which isn't a bad profit at all. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, in the middle of a downtime, let's get all the equipment repaired so that everything's as efficient as possible. And let's use our research and development to get the storage management. So it unlocks export and workstation zones. So what we can do, and what I will do, is I'm going to add a zone in here. Leave a little gap for people to get through. And I'm going to have this as a workstation input zone, and I'm going to link these two billboards here. So now, when things needing to be made for these 4 workstations, the goods will be placed in here. And this area, I'm going to resize it. I'm going to put a little zone in here. And that will be workstation input for this guy. And as for export, for the time being, with us being such a small factory, I'm just going to leave it as a general storage area. And right now, let's build something else. Always check the challenges page, because they do tend to pay a little bit more. And once you've worked through the levels with the client, once we get him past acquaintance, he'll start paying us a little bit more. When we get to level 3, it's a little bit more again. So with this guy, I'm going to go for the shelf support C. And we're going to go raw wood, keep it simple. And we're going to use the glue-in stations, just link them all up to the billboards. And there you go. Execute. Now I can just sit back, speed it up, and just watch. Now with contracts, they didn't show on the first 2 because they were tutorial ones, but we have a deadline of 2 hours and 20 minutes. So that blue line is just the time from the start of a project. It counts out until the end of a project. And when there's a red bar, it means that's how far behind you are on the project. When you have a green bar, it means you're ahead of schedule. So you're going to finish on time, which is obviously the best way to get it done. So we've got one person making the shelf supports, we've got one person making whatever that is. Who's making the planks? It looks like they're making all the shelf supports first, but what I want is I want someone to make wooden planks, because then once the wooden planks are made, they can keep making the shelf supports while somebody else assembles. I'm not worried about us losing, running out of time on this project. So it wants me to make an export zone, so what I will actually do, that can be useful, have an export zone like this, and then get a shelving unit. Now shelves are especially useful. Let's just lob that there, bash that into an export zone. Once the shelf comes in, instead of me having to put the shelves on the floor, I can put the shelves on the shelf. It won't, I don't think they'll move it in this project. When the project's done, they might change it over. But you can see they're putting it there. Oh, they are actually moving them. There we go, look at that. So it makes it a lot more organised. and we deliver them. Crazy Steve comes to pick it up. And once, there you go, once they've moved that, I'll put this back in the corner where it should be. Another 2.5 grand, 2600 experience, happy days.